Maybe you are thinking, oh, the barrels of this blasters are rotating, what a useless gimmick. But no, my blaster is using Gatling mechanics and I will explain how my blaster applies them. The rotation of the barrels are essential for this blaster to work, and it allows crazy firing rates of over 100 darts per second. Each second! Each second! Let's start with explaining how a standard blaster works. This is a Springer type or plunger type. So, let's take one apart. You can see the similarities with my first prototype of the minigun to the standard blaster. This is the air pump, and this is a plunger that is used to compress the air so that it gets pushed out to the front and accelerates the darts. I reuse this pump and have put it in here. Here's a spring that, when this plunger is pulled back, gets under tension and then ensures that the plunger is pushed in very fast. I made a slider, like this slider, and it catches the plunger, and here is the release of the plunger. Based on this prototype, I built a first minigun, kind of a single barrel version. Here is it in action. I had to load the darts manually. I rotated the barrel via my power drill, and it's already making fun to shoot. And then I tested how fast will it go. Getting too greedy. Oh yeah, okay. Okay. That was really too much. It wobbled as hell. Was one of my first 3D prints, and still it withstood, I think, around like 8 rotations per second. It's like 8 darts per second. And this is already faster like most standard Nerf blasters. And now imagine having 6 barrels, each firing 8 darts per second. That's already 42 darts per second. Wait, 6 times 8 is 48 and not 42. With that first setup. Maybe I'm not good at math, but I'm great at counting. I printed over 120 kilograms of filament using 4 different printers to develop and improve this freaking minigun until it became a real product. For the production of them, I chose the printer type that I had the best experience with, the Bambu Labs X1 Carbon. Right now it's 2 years ago that the X1C was released, and Bambu Labs celebrates this anniversary by offering great discounts. If you want to make a good deal and support my work, follow the link in the video description. And now let's take a look how the Moor really works. We start with one barrel. The dart is transported via a shell. How this is being done by the delinker, I will explain in a future video. The pump housing is now 3D printed, same as a plunger. And this is a slider, and at the right moment the blue part is pushed down to release the plunger. For the movement of the slider and the release of the plunger, I use something I call Gatling mechanics. The original Gatling gun used something quite similar. This channel here, the technical term might be something like reversed cylindrical cam, forces the slider to be in a certain position depending on the current rotation of the barrel. In the green part, the slider moves up to catch the plunger. In the yellow part, the slider pulls the plunger down to tension the spring. And in the red part, the plunger is released. The air is compressed, which shoots out the dart. And this is done again and again and again, until the backpack is empty. But how is the plunger released? This gray release mechanism with the additional ball bearing presses the blue hook of the slider down, so the plunger is freed. First, this releaser was completely 3D printed, but at high firing rates the material suffered from hitting the hook again and again. So I replaced it with a ball bearing. This absorbs the collision easily. Now let's make a full minigun by adding the other barrels. Here you can see how each barrel is in its own state depending on which angle it currently is. For example, these 3 springs are being tensioned at the same time. This barrel is shooting, and here the slider is going up again to grab the plunger. So this cylindrical cam that controls all of these movements is integrated in the housing of the morph. For example, in the slow motion you can see how the darts always fly out around the same place. This is where the releaser is positioned, which releases each barrel at the same rotation angle. And that's how the base shooting mechanism of my minigun works. How the linker works and why I choose to make a self-dismantling belt, I will explain next time, so subscribe.